The whole vibe at the stadium that night was electric, like the kind of buzz you get right before a summer thunderstorm rolls in and flips the sky inside out. Sharjah doesn't need much help getting loud. But that crowd was dialed all the way up, ready to see if the Sharjah Warriors could finally catch. Am I Emirates sleeping, or if MI was just going to keep steamrolling everybody, in sight like usual. Even walking through the aisles, you could feel the tension humming in the air, families squished together on the benches, kids waving flags twice their size, and folks yelling out predictions like they were trying to cast spells on the field. And right when the players walked out, that roar, man, it felt like a jet engine taking off right behind your ears. The Warriors looked hungry, like they'd spent all week chewing on the same thought. This is the one we gotta win. Their captain looked calm on the outside, but you could tell the guy was carrying the pressure like a backpack full of bricks. On the other side, MI Emirates strolled in with that relaxed, swagger-loaded confidence, the kind you only earn from stacking W's like pancakes. A couple of their guys were laughing during warm-ups, spinning the ball around in their hands like they were already imagining the wickets they'd pick up. When the coin flipped MI's way and they chose to bowl first, you could see a few Warriors players exchanging those, "All right, we gotta set the tone" glances. The first over set the stage with all kinds of drama. The Warriors opener came out, swinging harder than a dude trying to swat a fly that insulted his family. He cracked the first ball through covers so cleanly that even the MI players had that tiny moment of, whoa. But MI's opening bowler wasn't rattled. You could see him breathing slow, loosening his shoulders, recalculating. Next ball, boom, almost nicked behind. Third ball, almost crashed into the stumps. It was like the opening scene of a movie, where both characters pull out their swords and clash midair. The crowd was alternating between screaming, gasping, and laughing nervously because they had no clue which way the pendulum was going to swing. Then came the first big moment. That wicked delivery that tail-ended, just enough to sneak past the bat and clip the bails. The Warriors lost their opener early, and the stadium dipped into this weird mix of shock and annoyance, like when you drop your ice cream right as you step outside. MI Emirates players huddled up with grins plastered on their faces, banging shoulders like, yeah, we're here. But the Warriors weren't about to fold. Their number 3 walked in with the kind of swagger that said, go ahead, test me. For the next few overs, MI tried everything: short balls, slower balls, Yorkers tighter than skinny jeans, but the Warriors' new pair just kept pushing singles, sneaking twos, and then occasionally launching a ball into the night sky like they were sending messages to passing satellites. One shot in particular, a monstrous slog over mid-wicket, had the whole crowd on its feet. You know the sound a stadium makes when everyone gasps at the same time? That's what happened. Even MI's captain gave a tiny head nod like, all right, that was clean. Just when the Warriors looked like they were cooking something spicy, MI Emirates struck again. A tricky off-cutter fooled the batter completely. The ball kissed the inside edge, and the wicket-keeper snapped it like he was catching a fastball at home plate. The Warriors were suddenly 2 down, and now the pressure felt thick enough to slice with a butter knife. But the middle order wasn't ready to give MI the satisfaction. They played smart cricket, rotating strike, forcing the fielders to chase, slipping in the occasional boundary whenever MI relaxed for half a second. One of those batters was in the zone, like seriously locked in, reading deliveries like subtitles on a big screen. He started unleashing these buttery smooth drives, some along the ground, some lifted over fielders' heads like it was nothing. Around the halfway mark, you could practically hear the calculators running in everyone's heads. MI Emirates bowlers were getting a little frustrated. A couple of them paced around like they were auditioning for a dramatic role in a sports movie. And then came the over that changed everything. The Warriors' batter cracked back-to-back sixes, the kind that disappear so high it feels like NASA should track them. The fans went insane. People were hugging strangers. Someone spilled popcorn everywhere. For a moment, it looked like the Warriors were about to bust the game wide open. But MI Emirates didn't build their reputation on panic. They regrouped, tightened their lengths, and brought on their star spinner. And man, that dude started spinning the ball like it was possessed. The first wicket he took was pure class, a ball that drifted out like it was going bowling, then turned sharp enough to make the batter look like he had no Wi-Fi connection to the ball. Timber everywhere. The Warriors' middle order suddenly scrambled to find their rhythm again. But MI smelled blood. The last 5 overs were wild. The Warriors swung for the fences because they had to, and some of those swings paid off big couple more sixes, a handful of boundaries, and a whole lot of yelling from the stands. But Emirates took crucial wickets right when it mattered, snatching momentum away like thieves in the night. By the time the Warriors wrapped their innings, they had put a decent score on the board, something competitive, something spicy, but maybe 20 runs, shy of what they'd hoped, for when they were dominating earlier. When Emirates came out to chase, everybody leaned forward like they were trying to physically drag the tension closer. The MI openers took a moment to size up the field, tapping their bats on the turf like boxers tapping their gloves before a big round. The first over was cautious, no hero shots, just testing the waters. But then the second over arrived, and MI's opener unleashed an absolute missile straight down the ground. The Warriors bowler turned around with that "Are you serious?" look, and the crowd's noise hit a new decibel level. But Sharjah Warriors came back swinging, figuratively I mean. Their fast bowler, known for his fiery temper and even fierier bouncers, delivered one that flew past the batter's helmet like a heated warning. Next ball, the batter tried to hook it, mistimed, and boom, caught it deep square. The Warriors players exploded in celebration, their fast bowler running halfway across the field like he'd just won a marathon. The crowd roared like they'd been waiting for that exact moment all night. The chase started, feeling real spicy after that. Emirates had the firepower, no doubt about it, but Warriors had this gritty, underdog energy that made every single ball feel heavier than it should have been. MI's number 3 smashed a couple of boundaries that looked almost illegal in terms of elegance, but right when he started settling in, the Warriors spinner trapped him with a sneaky little delivery that dipped and spun and left him absolutely blindsided. LBW finger up, crowd exploding. The MI dressing room suddenly didn't look so chill. As the innings rolled on, Emirates kept pacing their chase carefully, playing each over like a puzzle. They were behind the required run rate for a bit, and the fans sensed this tension building in MI's camp. But then their star finisher walked in and the vibe instantly shifted. This dude plays like he's allergic to pressure. Every ball he met was either punched through gaps or lofted over fielders like he was flicking dust off his shoulders. He changed the whole game's energy in like 5 balls. Still, Sharjah Warriors refused to bow down. Their fielders threw themselves around like they were made of rubber, saving boundaries that should have been guaranteed. One diving stop at the rope had the entire crowd chanting the player's name like he was some kind of superhero descending from the sky. The bowler feeding off that energy bowled a dot ball, then another, then almost got a wicket. With a wicked slower one, the stadium was straight up vibrating. With the game sliding into the final overs, it felt like all of Sharjah was holding its breath. Emirates needed a decent chunk of runs, but nothing impossible. The Warriors needed one magic over, one spark, one swing and momentum, and they almost got it. A thick edge flew toward slip. The fielder dove full strek, and the ball popped right out of his hand like it had butter on it. The whole crowd groaned in unison, grabbing their heads like they couldn't believe the tragedy they'd just witnessed. Emirates capitalized on that life immediately. Next ball, a rocket into the stands. The final stretch was pure chaos. The Warriors bowled their hearts out, mixing pace, mixing angles, trying every trick in the book. Emirates batters kept their cool, ticking off runs one by one. Each delivery felt like a final exam question where nobody studied enough. And then with only a handful of balls left and a handful of runs needed, MI's finisher stepped up and launched the ball. High, so high it felt like it had time to think about its future. It finally crashed beyond the boundary ceiling. The deal in the most dramatic, cinematic way possible. Emirates took the win, the crowd both cheering and sighing at the same time, the heartbreak of the Warriors fans mixing with the exhilaration of MI supporters, dancing in the aisles. Players shook hands, jerseys soaked, smiles, exhausted. The Warriors walked off knowing they'd fought like lions but missed a couple of key moments. Emirates walked off knowing they had weathered every storm thrown their way, and as the lights dimmed, the stadium buzzing with post-match chatter, you could tell that everyone who witnessed this showdown would be talking about it for days. Those monster sixes, those clutch wickets, those near misses, that final towering shot. It wasn't just a match. It was a whole roller coaster story squeezed into one night, packed with adrenaline, heartbreak, swagger, and a whole lot of unforgettable cricket.